Welcome back to You Can Understand Shakespeare Because You Can, especially A Midsummer Night's Dream. We're here in Act 2, Scene 1. This is the second part where Oberon, king of the fairies, and his wife Titania, who are currently dueling, they are fighting over an Indian boy whom Titania has, but Oberon wants. So they are now meeting here where we've just been told by Robin, the Puck, and Fairy that they should not be meeting. So we get the line from the fairy, and here, my mistress, would that he were gone, meaning Oberon, would that he were not here. Enter Oberon, the king of the fairies, at one door with his train, not literally like a choo-choo train, but a train, a long procession of people. The queen, Titania, at another with hers. Ill met by moonlight, proud Titania. Ill met means not well met. It's the opposite in the dark. What? Jealous Oberon. Then we have that dash there, means that she's addressing someone else. Fairy, skip hence. I have forsworn his bed and company. Forsworn means swear off both his bed and company. They're not sleeping together. They're not hanging out with each other. Oberon says, tarry, rash wanton. A wanton is an impetuous creature. Am not I thy lord? Titania responds, then I must be thy lady. But I know when thou hast stolen away from fairyland and in the shape of corn sat all day playing on pipes of corn and versing love to amorous Phillida. Now, a couple things. Corin and Phillida are shepherds and shepherdesses in pastoral poetry. So he's when he says like Terry Rashwant and stop this, you impetuous creature. When he calls upon, am I not thy lord? He's saying, am I not your husband? And he's kind of calling upon a traditional hierarchical, patriarchal type of relationship. She responds that she must be his lady, but she knows that he is stolen away from where they live in fairyland in the shape of Corin, an archetypal shepherd, common name. So he's taken the shape of a shepherd and sat all day playing on pipes of corn, think like some lute, and versing love, telling poetry to amorous, meaning loving Phillida, to some shepherdess. So he has not been too faithful. Why art thou here come from the farthest steppe of India? But that, forsooth, the bouncing Amazon, your buskined mistress and your warrior love, to Theseus must be wedded, and you come to give their bed joy and prosperity. So she wants to know why he's here. He comes from the farthest limit of India. And he says, I know why. It's because that bouncing Amazon, your buskined mistress. A buskin means wearing hunting boots. Your warrior love. Clearly, Oberon likes Hippolyta and to come and bless their wedding bed. And you might go, wait. If he likes her, why is he cool with her marrying? They're fairies. Remember, fairies don't follow the exact same societal and moral guidelines and expectations as humans do. They rule over the forest, a place where things are more fluid, a place where identities and things can shift like that. That's why people in Shakespearean comedies go into the forest so they can experience and escape from the structures and rules of society. So, Titania calling out his infidelity points to the fact of, and also you're only here for this woman. Oberon responds, how canst thou thus? For shame, Titania. How canst thou thus? How can you talk like this? How canst just means can. Thou means you. Thus. How can you do this? For shame, Titania. Glance at my credit with Hippolyta, knowing I know thy love to Theseus. Apparently they both play this game. She loves Theseus. Didst not thou lead him through the glimmering night from Pyrgenia, whom he ravished, and make him with fair Aeolus break his faith with Ariadne and Antiopa? Now these are referred to various people that Theseus, the various women that Theseus has had some type of relationship with. So you might recognize Ariadne. Ariadne helped Theseus kill the Minotaur, escape from the labyrinth. Here we have that Antiopa is an alternative name for an Amazonian queen whom Theseus married, although Shakespeare seems to be using it for a different name. That's in the footnote. You want good footnotes to help explain that. There's always a part, ladies and gentlemen, where you get to Shakespeare and he starts talking about mythology or history or something of the sort, the Bible perhaps. And it's very easy to see these names. Perigenia, whom he ravished. Fair Aeolus, break faith. Aeolus, these are mistresses. Now, you read these and you go, oh, I have no clue who these are. Who are they referencing? I am lost. All you need to do is, if you don't have footnotes, go ahead and read along and see you have led him along from Perigenia, whom he ravished. So he had intercourse, and make him with fair Aeglus break his faith with Ariadne Antiopa, you go, she's being accused of whomever these women are, making Theseus lead away. It seems that she is the one who's leading him, wandering from woman to woman to woman, presumably to keep him for herself. So there's a way that you can read this with footnotes to go, I understand this exactly. There's also a way that you just read the context, ravish it, break faith, and with that, go ahead and go, I see the purpose of what he's saying here, even if I don't understand every single little bit. One last highlight, Titania, Oberon don't seem to be the paragons of fidelity. Here we have another relationship to hold up all the other ones to, whether that's Hermia and Lysander, or Helena and Demetria, or Hippolyta and Theseus. Now we have these two whom seem to not only be unfaithful to one another, but also lead other people to infidelity. And that idea of shifting alliances, but deep and true love, is playing a course here. I mean, after all, keep in mind what Lysander said. The course of true love did never run smooth for a variety of reasons. You might say one of them is the interference of fairies. So, saying this back to her, Titania has to respond. These are the forgeries of jealousy. You're jealous, you're making forgery, you're lying. And never since the middle of summer, spring, which is the beginning of Midsummer, the name of the play, met we on hill, in dale, forest, or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margin of the sea, to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. So this is one of those classic Shakespeare things where he's just listing a lot of things, and you can get lost in that, going, I don't know what a mead is. I don't know what a beached margin is. By the way, that's the shore of the sea. Now I think of like a margin is like sort of like the corner of something. If it's the beached margin, it's beached. It's the shore. Point being, she could have said, we have not met on a hill to dance in our ringlets. Those are fairy circle dances. But instead, she's mentioning all these different places. So it's up to the actor or actress to figure out how to deliver that in a way that goes, I see. She's just listing all these different places. Once you understand that Shakespeare oftentimes uses extended metaphors or extended lists like this, you kind of go, I got it. This is a whole big chunk wherein she's simply trying to communicate, not since the beginning of Midsummer have we danced in our fair rings. We've been feuding for quite a while. But with thy brawls, thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore, the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge, have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which, falling in the land, hath every pelting river made so proud that they have overborne their continents. One thing we want to get here is that because the fairies are not dancing, the winds, who seem to be personified, but maybe actually have some type of force, they're piping to them in vain. They're piping, singing, calling, but to no avail because it's in vain. So in revenge, they're sucking from the sea contagious fogs, this idea that sickness could come from the sea and is falling on the land, and it's pelting every river, that they are overbearing their continents. And another way of thinking about this is that they're overflowing rivers, and that's not good. They're overflowing rivers. They're spilling out, overboring on the continents, the banks. The ox hath therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The plowman lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. In other words, farming, grass has rotted before his youth has grown a beard, before it's able to, as a young type of crop, grow up into an older type of crop. The plowman is working in vain. The ox is working in vain because of these forests, or sorry, because of the rivers, because of the wind, which is doing this because of them. The fold stands empty in the drowned field, and all this happening because the fields are drowning. And crows are fatted with the murrain flock, which are, murrain means dead of disease. They're fatted with all these dead disease because crows eat dead things. The nine men's morris is filled up with mud. The nine men's morris is a playing area for an outdoor game. It's a board game played with 9 pebbles, and it was cut into turf, but they can't play that because it's filled up with mud. That's one of those things where you need to have a footnote. I had never heard of Nine Men's Morris before now, and I was in this play in high school. The Nine Men's Morris is filled up with mud, and the quaint mazes in the Wanton Green, for lack of tread, are undistinguishable. So people can't even tell where the mazes are that are cut into greens because no one's walking them because they're flooded. The human mortals want their winter cheer. When they say want, it means lack. It does not mean that the human mortals desire their winter cheer. Their winter cheer would include the hymns and carols of the Yuletide. They lack their winter cheer. They do not have their winter cheer. No night is now with hymn or carol blessed. In other words, there's no Christmas cheer right now for this time of year. It's a happy time. There's no cheer to help them during this dark time. If all this were happening, they couldn't go outside, they couldn't go to the field. Well, at least there's the Christmas carols, but there's no Christmas carols now. Therefore, the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air, that rheumatic diseases do abound. So now the moon is upset. She's pale with anger. So now she's washing, she's moistening the air, and that rheumatic disease do abound. This idea that the moon can cause disease as well. And through this distemperature, meaning through this distemperature, this disturbance, we see the seasons alter. Hoary headed frosts fall on the fresh laps of the crimson rose. Roses are getting frosted. And on old Hyam's chin, an icy crown, an odorous chaplet of sweet summer buds is as in mockery set. Hyam's would be winter. Hyam, presumably some type of winter deity or figure. On his chin and icy crown, there's actually an odorous chaplet, a wreath of summer buds, meaning we've swapped the seasons. Now, keep in mind why she's saying all of this, because this is actually could be something that might actually usually be cut by certain directors, being like, "We got it. The seasons are upset." She's given lots of different examples here. Um, the spring, the summer, the chilling autumn, angry winter change their wonted liveries. Wanted is what you are wanted to do, what you are by temperament inclined to do. Liveries being what you wear, customary clothing. And the mazed world, being amazed, by their increase now knows not which is which. By the increase of the crop yield. And this same progeny of evils, progeny is like children. If it's your progeny, so the children of evils comes from our debate, from our dissension. We are their parents and original, meaning origin. All because they're fighting. They don't do their dances. All of nature's rebelling. It actually kind of ups the stakes of this. This is a worldwide, if not sort of cosmic event that Titania and Oberon, king and queen of the fairies, are fighting all over this Indian boy. Oberon says, "Do you amend it then? It lies in you." So he just puts it right back on her. Why should Titania cross her Oberon? I do but beg a little changeling boy to be my henchman. Titania says, "Set your heart at rest. The fairyland buys not the child of me. His mother was a votress of my order." Votress mean a woman who has taken a vow to serve. Think like a nun. And in the spiced Indian air by night, full often hath she gossiped by my side, and sat with me on Neptune's yellow sands. So, in other words, this the fairyland buys not the child of me. Uh, Now that could be read as that the boy's not for sale. In other words, the fairyland buys not the child of me. Her mother's a votress. When they were, remember, he's from India. She sat gossiping by my side on Neptune. That's the ocean's yellow sands. That's the beach, marking the embarked traders on the flood. An embarked trader is a ship that is embarking, like a merchant, on the flood, on the tide. When we have laughed to see the sails conceive and grow big bellied with the wanton wind, they would there she's personifying the sails. What happens when the sail gets full with the wanton wind? Wanton being amorous, being loving. It's like the wind has impregnated the sails, and they grow big bellied, like a woman who is impregnated by a wanton man. So, which she, with pretty and with swimming gait, following her womb, then rich with my young squire, would imitate and sail upon the land to fetch me trifles and return again as from a voyage rich with merchandise. So she would imitate, we'd sit together and we'd look at the boats, and she, being pregnant, would imitate their pregnant sails. And she would, like a merchant, go and bring me things, and they would gossip and laugh. So it appears as though they were good friends even. But she, being mortal, of that boy did die. Of that boy did die, meaning she died in childbirth. And for her sake do I rear up her boy, and for her sake I will not part with him. So you got to ask, and the text, does it lean this way? Possibly. It seems like Oberon's in the wrong. It seems like Titania is a pretty good reason. I mean, this was her votress, this was her friend. Keep in mind, we only have Titania's claim to this, so she could be lying. For my part, it seems like she has a pretty good claim to this. Seems like she's doing her friend a solid, raising her kid. Oberon apparently has no comeback for this, no rightful claim. He just says, "How long within this wood intend you stay?" Titania responds, "Perchance meaning just by chance, till after Theseus's wedding day. If you will patiently dance in our round and see our moonlight revels, go with us. So if you're gonna dance with us, if you're gonna see what we do here in the moonlight, then you can stay. If not, shun me, and I will spare, meaning I will avoid your haunts where you go. Oberon tries again. Give me that boy, and I will go with thee. Titania says, not for thy fairy kingdom. Fairies away. We shall chide downright if I longer stay. Chide being quarrel. And her and her train exit. Just one last thing. The Indian boy here is a type of MacGuffin, just a plot device. I don't think we ever actually meet him. Perhaps a director could put someone in casted this way, sure. But it's interesting to think of the various quarrels. I mean, Hippolyta and Theseus, depending on how you play it, don't really have a quarrel, it seems. Although, I mean, I've seen a production where like Hippolyta is legitimately just locked up, and it's meant to give this idea of like, Theseus is a bad guy. But you can also play them very much in love. The text doesn't seem to immediately suggest a one-to-one correlation of these two are fighting. Being wooed by the sword could be something that she likes or something that she doesn't. Hermia and Lysander have a problem, but not with one another. Their problem is society. Helena and Demetria have a problem, which is that one of them's not in love with the other. That's a pretty internal problem. But now we have Titania and Oberon who are fighting over this child. And so it's really interesting to look at the cause of division. And when you look at this, it's like, well, why do you want the boy? I want a henchman. I want power. But they're also arguing about like children. And you can say this could really be a cause of division for some parents. It's sort of who gets ownership or claim or parenthood of this child, even though it's an adopted one. Who do they get to have claim over in general? It seems like they've kind of staked their parties too. After all, they have control of nature, more or less. They have all of these subjects, but then they also have votresses. They also sort of have claimed Hippolyta or Theseus and lead that along. So it's really interesting to look at these two characters. And we have to remember that though they are a relationship, that they are fairies, so they seem to operate a little bit different. So now that Titania and her train have left, we're going to get a little bit of scheming from Oberon and from Robin. Oberon will tell them, well, go thy way. Thou shalt not from this grove till I torment thee for this injury. She leaves with a threat. You will not leave this grove until I torment you for this injury to my pride. And now he'll call gentle Puck over. My gentle Puck